My presentation is about Serbian NSDI Digital Platform. I will shortly explain why we decided to establish this platform, and also what are the use cases and what are the further plans. So who we are? Republic Geodetic Authority is governmental institution responsible for a lot of data sets, collecting and maintaining a lot of data sets, and those are top 10, let's say, data sets that is needed for decision making by the government, but also for the market development, and we are responsible for all of that. But let's see what are the conditions of the data sets are in Serbia. For example, address register. Just to remind you that in Serbia, 7 million citizens, and more or less half of the citizens are living in the houses without proper addresses. So it's completely outdated. Also, regarding real estate cadastre, more than 4 million illegal objects are identified in Serbia. So it's completely outdated. There are also a lot of other issues on the national level, like the data are outdated, heterogeneity of IT infrastructure, a lot of issues. A few weeks ago, the Codex celebrates 130 years, and this is a good reminder that if you are not you're not served to your users in line with the technology and user needs, then it can be really irrelevant. That was the more or less situation for RGA as well. So that's why we decided in our strategy to focus more on to update our data sets, also to deliver the data and the services on the manner that is really needed by the market, and also to standardize and to help other institutions on the government level to be in line with the user needs. One of the main point here is National Spatial Data Infrastructure. This is our web portal, which will be a single access point for all our services on the national level, which will be launched, I think, at the end of September, 26th of September. And here are the part of the main services that we are frequently deliver to our users. First layer is the metadata catalog, collaborative platform, and digital platform. Also, the second layer is applications and the services that we offer. And third layer is about focused on the topics and the thematic data sets like environment, transport, etc., etc. Metadata catalog is based on the geo network, and the purpose is to easily find the data and to see the specification of every data set and services that there is on the national level. Collaborative platform, it's it's in line with our effort to be more in relation with our users from the governmental side, but also from the citizens. And there are a lot of very good things like the data and the documentation for the trainings, also for feedbacks, for communication with the users and citizens. Also, there are a lot of places where the users can submit some comments, and if they see some error in our data sets, in order to improve it, and other things. This is the services. The first is about mobile application for GeoSerbia, which I will show you later, like live demonstration. Download services for data sets that is for vector data sets like cadastre, like address register, etc. We also have OGC services, VMS, WFS, etc. REST API. But also what is quite new, it's about crowd SDI. This is crowdsourcing application for collection of new data sets, and in order to to collect new data sets and also to maintain the existing one. I will show you later. And also about open data, where we offer open data sets, geospatial data sets to the public to download. I would like to just shortly take opportunity and to show you we worked together with the Aspan Viak Internet, a small company from Norway. And in this, you can choose, this is all authority, sorry, it's not, how to switch. Yeah. Yeah, I want to show you. Here it is. So everything is here. It's authority data, data from Republic Geodetic Authority, but also from other authorities and institutions from Serbia. We have several base maps, like topographic maps with various scales, orthophoto images, etc., etc. We also allowed to, for our users, it's publicly available, so it can be used by everyone. We are allowed to search for addresses, for example. It's or for toponyms like museums, geographical names, and also to search via keyboard. It's very strange. Sorry, with the cadastral parcels. So our user can see and navigate to all these data sets, and also to get information about the status of every parcel, for example, area, and there is a link for eCataster in order to check the ownership of these cadastre parcel. There are also here we have different access, different level of access for our users. Our registered users are actually our stakeholders and local municipalities. And this is the real power of the whole portal. It's about data sets. Here we offer all these data sets that is in our responsibility, plus a lot of data sets that are from other, like statistics, like environmental agency, and so on. At the beginning, I forgot to say that we launched this portal 8 months ago, sorry. At the beginning, we had just 20 data sets, few institutions. Right now, we have more than 130 data sets and more than 20 institutions which participating in this. There are a lot of geographical names, administrative units, and so on. So maybe most interesting for our users is the price register. This is the price register of all apartments, residential buildings, agricultural land, forest, where they can check, for example, the area of the transaction, original transaction from the market, and the price what they pay for this apartment. Also, we allow to digitize. It's possible to digitize some content and also to download it. On the format that is quite standard. And it's allowed also to combine these data sets to their own systems. Also, we developed this possibility to include external WMS services and the WM test services. This is where is the link? No? Copy. From Danube GIS. So it's possible to include this data set in our platform and also to combine. For example, this is very useful because for this kind of data, it's not actually, the Republic of Serbia doesn't have this kind of data like flood hazard risks. We are working on this right now, so it's very useful when we have possibility to include these external data sets in our system. Also for these, for neighboring countries, we also have this cooperation, and we can combine these data sets with the orthophoto from Croatia, which is publicly available, or for Bosnia, etc., etc. It's also possible to combine, this is very interesting part of the platform, combination with the open data web portal. For example, our Ministry of Internal published the data for car accidents for Belgrade. So it's possible just to import via for single data sets, and to examine the places where are the places where with car accidents, with the pedestrians, or other type of accidents. There are a lot of possibilities. This is just few, which is interesting. So I wanted just to continue about a few words about our mobile crowd SDI platform. It's publicly available. It's on Android. It's not yet developed for iOS, and the use case is for waste dump site register. We were working with the Ministry of Environment to collect this kind of data. And it's also linked with our digital platform. So in real time, when it's collected, then it's visualized in our digital platform. So address register from the beginning, it was you remember these figures. So we managed with this approach and with this platform to update our completely whole Serbia for 1.5 years, and we also allowed our Prime Minister and our Minister to follow to monitor and the work on real time in our platform as well. So there are a few examples, very interesting examples by our citizens, by other institutions, like for taxi drivers, for updating address register, to exploring to spatial planning, disaster risk management and reduction, and a lot of things. So in very short time, we managed to collect a lot of positive feedbacks from our users, to also to update our registers, to collect the new one, and allowed our government for a smarter decision making. So thank you for your attention. Feel free to ask any question that you want. Thank you.
Antti Jakobson from Netherlands of Finland. Thank you. Very impressive platform and GeoPortal. What about the users? What kind of users they are happy, and how many have you followed the number of users, etc.?
Yeah, thank you. I hope that somebody will ask about statistics because we are quite proud. At the beginning, it was not so popular, but right now we have. Monthly, we have more than 4 million requests, and around 150,000 different users. But there are a lot of governmental institutions who is using, mainly them for their regular work. They're using also for making the spatial plans, we saw on some website and forum that users using for agriculture, for hiking, for planning their vacations, for a lot of different things. So that's why we are very proud, because we discovered some users that we never thought that they are able to use our data. So it's quite positive feedback from all over. There are also issues, especially regarding infrastructure and from technical side, but we have a very big support from our government. So we are going to develop further and to enhance our possibilities regarding this platform.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. My name is Gülay Çalır. I participate as a minister expert and general director of GIS in Turkey. Today I'm going to make a presentation our geographic information strategies and action plan of Turkey. And I'm going to tell you what we did about the establishment NSDI and what we're going to do in the futures. Assignments. Presentation contents are the assignments of the General Directorate of GIS and the works of the General Directorate of GIS and Geographic Information Strategies and Action Plan of Turkey project and Turkey NSDI project with linked to a strategic action plan and Turkey project. Our Director General of Geographic Information System has been established 2011 and under the Republic of Turkey Ministry of Environment and Urbanization. According to the laws, some tasks are given to the Directorate on a national scale, and these are the establish and manage NSDI, establish and operate national geoportal, public regulations and generate policies, and they determine standards for the data production and sharing, increase the number of the capacity of GIS experts, and carry out GIS projects needed by ministry. With this started, after the establishment, General Directorate started to carry out his duties from 2011 to today. First of all, started with the legal basis. Legal basis work was started to publish regulation on establishment and the management of national GIS. Next, some government order strategy documents followed it. And the next, second was technology infrastructure, some IT works has been done in order to establish technological infrastructure to share uninterrupted data via spatial data services on GeoPortal. And one of the most important part is the human resources works. We needed the GIS experts to produce and share spatial data by using latest technology. So we generated the GIS expert proficients. This one the level 4 for GIS operators and level 6 for GIS experts. And we created the distance education system to increase the capacity of the GIS people. And the next one, we made a standards projects at the end of the 2015. It is about the data content and data exchange, also data producer standards. And applications, we made some ministry and GIS applications. One of the most important is that we made the national geoportal at the beginning of the 2015, and we made some needed ministry GIS apps for the on the scale of country. And geographic data production. At the end of the 2006, we finished the throughout of the generate project. It was 10 centimeter resolution and covered the whole country. And we are sharing all outcomes of the project with the public institution and municipalities for free. And we are using the data, and most of public institutions using our data as a base map on their own projects. I would like to give an attention on a legal basis part. First, beginning of the 2015 regulation and establishment management of national GIS has been published. Its main contents are establishment and management of national GIS, ensuring data definition and the production geographic data accordingly by authorized institutions, and the sharing of spatial data sets and network services and metadata, and inter-enterprise coordination, and the methods and principles related to other issues. Then at the end of the 2016, a government order published it. It's published because of some public institutions were facing the legislation limitation to share their spatial data for free. We published because of this government order. And 2007 and 2018, we are working on the Geographic Information Strategy and Action Plan to support the other regulation rulers. And I would like to tell you about the Geographic Information Strategy and Action Plan of Turkey. which started at the beginning of the 2017, and we plan to complete at the end of the 2018. The main aim of project is that coordinated and harmonized spatial data production between stakeholders, determine data service and sharing principles, increase spatial data sharing awareness using funds effectively, and increase the effect of the geographic information sector on international platforms and present issues determining and solution proposals. And the scope is the capacity increasing and develop cooperation between institutions on geographic information systems, identification of authorized institutions which are producing and using spatial data, increasing GIS experts count and their capacity, and preparing new regulations and action plans to troubleshooting. Also, we expect after the end of the project, we will add to gain. One of them is the organizational capacity building among institutions and reducing time and finances loss to avoid duplicate GIS investment, and increase communication capacity between stakeholders through GIS portal, and the determination of GIS-based standards and frameworks and implementation of interoperability policies between institutions, and the increased awareness of the importance of NSDI. And the last one is the support stakeholder organization through centralized structures within the framework of specific standard. Also, one of the project phases is the establishment of GIS portal in order to communication between stakeholders on web, working group discussions forum, and questionnaire studies, and publishing project outputs and maturity model studies of all institutions and municipalities in Turkey. And the strategic portal will be used on other projects also. The people who are interested with GIS can be able to communicate with us and send their criticism anytime. And these are the geographic information strategy portal components that you see on slide. The other, and we are working on two important projects as well about the NSDI. One of them is determining national data specification projects, which is the completely conform with the INSPIRE standards. Just we are harmonized with our national standards. Aim of project is the establishment of NSDI at national level in accordance with the technological developments and INSPIRE directive, and determination of spatial data production and exchange standard with stakeholders. At the project outcomes, we will have a data specification template, generate conceptual model, administrative and technical interoperability procedures and principles, spatial data team coverage and responsibility matrix on the authorized civilization. And the project phases are that we finished the template documents this month. At the end of this month, we are doing the latest regulation right now. And the second phase is we will constitute of working groups, and it will finish at the end of October. And updating the data specifications which are in INSPIRE Annex 1 data standards. This is the 11 teams. We will finish the update at the end of this year. And publish new data specification. It will planning the 8 teams right now, and it will finish at the end of 2019. And the second important project is the NSDI integration project. With this project, we focus to enrich GeoPortal with spatial data services, which comes from all institutions and the awareness of the GeoPortal. Aim of project analyzing the public institutions and metropolitan municipalities' geographic data and services. And the scope is to carry out analysis studies by working 31 public institutions and 30 metropolitan municipalities in Turkey, and geographic data service enrichment of national GeoPortal. We're gonna work in this project with all stakeholders, and we're gonna do some analysis studies. One of them is the geographic data. Is it digital or not? We are going to ask. And do you share your spatial data through services? Do you have any sharing policies? Do you produce the metadata or entering the GeoPortal, national GeoPortal? And do you have any legislative limitation to share your data via services? And do you have any enough GIS organization units, human resources? Do you have enough GIS experts? And the technological infrastructure, is it available? And after all, this our main focus, the enrichment, the GeoPortal. You may see the link on the slide, the GeoPortal Gov.tr. It has been established at the beginning of the 2015. It is exactly the same standard to inspire components, except the transformation services. We don't have it yet, but we need a small update to finish it. We aim that after this project carried out more data sharing on the data GeoPortal is aimed. Also, there is a metadata entry link. All metadata components are the same as Inspire metadata components. As we know, the NSDI have some components that you see in slide. We are doing all works to complete this NSDI successfully as well. At least the main focus is interoperability. We use the EIF interoperability principles. We would like to turn the e-governance model. So we use the legal, organizational, semantic, and technical interoperability, and we are working to create this interoperability governance. You may see the main parts in the slide: National GIS Strategy and Action Plan, interoperability principles, organizations, and technical, NSDI standardization studies and integration studies. All this work for the create the interoperability governance. And this is our aim at infrastructure about spatial data access and sharing, and standard producing and sharing by implementing the national data sharing principles. We would like to be a turn-A governance model, but we have a lot of work to do still because the hardest part is to change the thoughts about open data sharing. So we are working to break the shields. Thank you for your attention. This is my presentation.
What are you organize is quite impressive. And, what you organize is quite impressive. But I was when I wonder about the data sharing and accessibility of your data, because you say it's not all is not open. So how you deal with those persons who are putting some restriction, and do you have some security mechanism, or is it something you are considering on your platform?
We would like to use the national GeoPortal between the institutions, the geographic data via services. Also, we are using the security internet connection system between institutions. First, we connect all institutions and ministry infrastructure technologies, and then we are sharing between us. I can explain like that. Also, we can give some security policies with the other software. We are using API or another, etc.
Okay. In these sessions, we are talking about national strategies. So it seems that my presentation would be out of context, but indeed it isn't, because I'm talking about something that each national strategy would take into account. That is how Inspire is being reused in e-reporting. Finland has told us that maybe there are few use cases for use of Inspire data. So let's start having a look at what the European agency is doing for reusing Inspire. My name is Stefania Morrone. I work for Epsilon Italia. It's a small, medium enterprise in southern Italy. which has made Inspire its core business. So we are utilizing Inspire infrastructure, services, and data to make our core business. And as such, we are involved in a framework contract with the European agency, and we are providing support for Inspire-related matters. So, where do we start from? From the beginning, because reporting is an important use case behind the development of Inspire Directive, and the data specification already contain different requirements stemming from EU environmental legislation, and the generic conceptual model dedicates an entire section to the relationships between business data and Inspire data, and reporting data. So, streamlining reporting, modernizing reporting, taking into account the efforts of the member states to fulfill their Inspire obligation would lead to efficiency gains. Of course, there is an initial increases costs, but in the end, it will lower costs, increase efficiency, and provide also better quality data, and improve data coherence, because the same geospatial data will be reused in different contexts. So to go forward, in the path already traced since the beginning in the Inspire Directive, a pragmatic and stepwise approach has been taken, so trying to apply the reuse of Inspire in some pilot projects, in few thematic areas, namely the Air Quality Directive, the industrial emissions, and the national designated areas reporting. So, what is evident is there is no one-size-fits-all solution. So technological approach, of course, has to take into account the specificities of the different data flows for reporting. So currently, 3 different approaches have been experimented. So the integration approach, which underpins the Air Quality Directive reporting, in which the requirements stemming from air quality have been integrated to requirements from relevant Inspire data themes, namely administrative units, environmental monitoring facilities, and area management. Then the EU registry, so the extension approach. There is the EU registry schema extends one Inspire schema, that is production and industrial facilities, and the linked approach, which is based on the reuse of already produced datasets. So there is no extension of the schema, but reuse of data already produced. We have no time to get into details, of course, and this morning I will focus on the last 2, so the extension approach and the linked approach. I said that generic conceptual model already takes into account reporting and relationships with Inspire. So the Annex F of the Inspire generic conceptual model provides general rules for Inspire extension, mainly asking that the extended model does not break any requirement coming from the original model. Meaning that you can add new data types, new feature types, you can add attributes to the already existing structures, but add new constraints, whatever, but do not go in conflict with what already stated in the data specification you are addressing. So there is a very interesting website that is Inspire Data Specification Extension project website. You can also address directly from Inspire portal website. And there are patterns helping those who want to extend Inspire data models, so examples, tutorials. So go and have a look. I will concentrate this morning on which are the major benefits of the extension approach. Of course, an extended model incorporates the original structures, so the original data structure. So one of the major benefits is that the same workflows are mostly can be mostly reused in both cases. So to feed at the same time reporting data flow and Inspire data flow. So you can reuse same ETL, same transformation project, and you have shared data management procedures that will, of course, reduce costs of data management and for quality checks of data and provision of data through services. Because, of course, if you have an extended schema and the schema respects the general rules, usually there is an import from a technical point of view of the inspired schema. So the structure is the same. So if you provide a service compliant to the structure of the extended model, that service is at the same time able to provide inspired data. Because inspired data will be conformant also to the new schema requirements. And will, of course, increase data coherence, as we just said. Of course, there is a major potential challenge because and one of these could be the complexity of inspired data models, so maybe difficult extension exercises and difficulties of current software tools to manage inspired GML data, above all when dealing with the huge size or very complex data model. I mean, it is a potential challenge because maybe you will live happily ever after. I mean, if your data is not so huge, if you are addressing simple data models and so on. But it is a potential challenge to be taken into account. And of course, inspired extension approach is best performing when reporting model that extends inspire and inspire relevant data model have several common information demands. An example of the extended approach is the EU registry data model, which collects information about facilities, installations, installation plants, large combustion plants, waste incineration plants, and so on, which are obliged to report under EPRTR regulation and Industrial Emission Directive. And the EU registry data model extends inspired production and industrial facility data model according to Annex F of inspired generic conceptual model, meaning that it adds new data type, new feature types, and adds also new element to pre-existing data structure in the original model, and adds new constraints, but respects all that is already there. From a technical point of view, the EU registry imports inspired production and industrial facilities. You will find a full description of the data model and have guidelines and all that you need on RapidNet. As I said, inspired production industrial facility data model meets most of the EU registry demands because provides structure for the sites, for the facilities, installation parts. If you read production industrial facility data specification, you will find many references to EPRTR, to IED, and so on. So in this case, the business case justifies the creation of an extended data model. And inheriting all the basic structures, the EU registry succeeds in satisfying different reporting obligations, so streamlines reporting of two different obligations, that is IED and EPRTR, through a single data model, and builds on inspired efforts of the member states, because meanwhile, the building EU registry data, you are creating building blocks for the provision of harmonized, inspired production and facilities data. Because the structure is the same, most structure is the same, so while you are providing EU registry, you are still building inspired production and facility data, whose deadline is in 2020. Okay, oops, yes, this is the one. This is for the EU registry. I have no time to get into details, okay? But they created, I mean, the EU-registry created a streamlined view to help the users to use the data model, so hidden in complexity, though all that is in the Inspire production facility is also in the EU-registry schema, because it extends according to Annex F. So, a different approach has been taken in the case of nationally designated areas reporting. Once again, the base is the generic conceptual model. And there is a section, namely, it should be section 6.2, which explains which are the different ways in which reporting and Inspire should cooperate. So the first addressed way is the one you read here. So when there are existing and well-established data flows for reporting, Inspire data models should be limited to provide spatial objects and attributes that allow joining the reporting data to spatial objects, like, for example, the external objects identifier, for example, the Inspire IDs, or thematic identifiers. So this is a first suggestion in the case there is already an established data flows. You will also, if you go there and read, because it's really interesting, have a look at section 6 of the generic conceptual model, because it explains how Inspire data should be the basis, should be reused for reporting, because to obtain efficiency gain, cost gains, and so on. So the linked approach does not extend Inspire data models to include new pieces of information from new environmental legislation, but it reuses as is the Inspire data in order to get spatial reference, first of all, and potentially, and usually this will be the case, other pieces of information which are already there. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel to provide twice. What is already there must be reused for environmental reporting purposes. So common information needs are provided by Inspire spatial datasets, so already produced to fulfill Inspire obligation, while specific reporting elements are provided by means of thematic dataset, which, of course, must be linked to relevant Inspire data. So must link to relevant geospatial reference data. Hopefully the picture is readable, maybe there. So the reporting data flow will consist of two different pieces. One is the Inspire datasets from which the geospatial reference is taken and other elements, and a specific thematic file. Of course, if the information relevant to the reporting is contained in different GML files from Inspire. So, for example, if there are different GMLs for region, I don't know, in the same countries, different reporting. Yes, I've just 1 minute left, so you can ask me later if you have questions. So, of course, the thematic file will bring links at dataset level to the dataset that contains relevant geospatial information and other information, and at record level. So each record in the thematic file will link to relevant record in the Inspire dataset. So major benefit of the linked approach, as is reuse of what already produced, and so the same Inspire data, the core data, can be reused as is in different reporting obligation if needed. And the same reporting obligation can easily link from thematic file to different Inspire data theme, Inspire datasets that are already there. And the linking mechanism is also very, very flexible, because it can allow to have flat structure for specific thematic data, avoiding the difficulties related to the consumption, currently related to the consumption of Inspire GML. And this is very important, the possibility to harvest Inspire web services, because here I have no time to explain, but of course, the link to the dataset can be provided by means of a physical file, physical GML file, or endpoint to the services which is publishing the data. So, possible, of course, challenges is, of course, in the identification of inspired dataset containing authoritative information, official information, how to be sure this is the official information, this is the complete information we need, and how to match the corresponding information. So, the Inspire CDDA reporting is based on this linked approach, reuses of Inspire geometry, legal foundation date, and site name from Inspire data. I will skip this because there is no time, but what is important is that cooperation demands are very strong, because there is a need of agreement on how to build the spatial objects identifier, how to identify authoritative inspired data, and there is a need for information sharing procedures within departments in charge of different related data flow. So, which is the conclusion? Here again, a quotation from the generic conceptual model. It is important that Inspire and Policy Working Group for reporting closely liaise and cooperate. So, independently from the methodological approach, the proficient reuse of Inspire in reporting builds on strong cooperation, on commitment of all involved actors. So, it is important that there is this cooperation, and full potential of Inspire infrastructure will allow active dissemination and Inspire services harvesting. So in the end, Inspire for e-reporting has a potential to be a win-win deal. Thank you very much.
It's about the mirror approach, I will call it. My name is Roland van der Boel. I'm a technical manager at het Waterschapshuis, it's called in Dutch. And I'll tell what it means and what a Waterschapshuis is doing. I have a few topics I want to share. First, what the Waterschapshuis is. I want to tell about the experiences we have with sharing data. I'll stand still at the subject, the differences between process and open data. I'll have some ideas about standardization and, most important, quality of data. First, in Holland we have 21 water boards, regional, sub-regional, so in Holland organizations who are responsible for dry, feed and clean water, to say it in a very simple way. They have organized an organization, and that's called the Waterschapshuis, where they can share data and make it available for anyone who needs it. Well, this is what anyone wants. I'll tell you something about the development, about the past, where we first focused on standardization, and we now have the idea that it's very important to get a grip on the use of data and to stimulate it. And one of the important things there is usability and quality. What we see is that there are many organizations involved. For example, municipalities. They have water in their cities too, and water flows and comes into a regional part. So you have to cooperate with other organizations. And last but not least, those 21 water boards have many tasks that are completely the same. If they have to deliver all data, for example, to Inspire, 21 lines of data have to be maintained. And what we do in the cooperation is that we collect it from those 21 waterboards and send it to users users of that data, and that reduces lines. Small calculation: if you have 6 end users and 21 waterboards, that will be 126 lines, and if you concentrate it, only 27. Life is simple. What we have now is that we collect the data, and this is called a central distribution layer, and we distribute it, for example, by PDOK, and that's a central platform which is mentioned by Antti this morning in the Netherlands to share data with others. But there are more data sets that those waterboards have to deliver to other organizations, and that creates still quite a lot of work. And what we are doing now is that we are going to take care that we collect data and possibility of preferably not physically, but collect and share it with other organizations from one point. Why? Well, we have to. So those 21 waterboards have to. It's a convenience issue. If there is 21 times one problem, you can solve it. And some problems you can't solve if you are only one of the 21. Because, for example, for borders, you can see here, you have to check whether the border is the same as your neighbor. Of course, this should be one national model, and they all have to apply to the standards there are. So what you see isn't possible, but you can see it, so it's done. It's wrong. And we have new challenges, climate issues, where you need the information from other organizations, for example, on rain predictions, etc. You have to cooperate. And last but not least, we, waterboards, want this. And we can do it. That's just cutting off the T. Also a simple solution. One important issue is the data. I'll come back to this. Some issues where we have chosen for using the operational data to share with others, we see quite a lot of differences in the operational data sets at the 21 organizations. The data is suitable for others, but when you have to share it with others, you have to comply to standards. And that's not as easy as it sounds. We are thinking about using other techniques, linked data, for example, and AP architecture is developing now quickly. But we have to be careful who is responsible for data itself. We are not able in a central construction to edit data from others because we are not. It's not ours. And one issue that is mentioned before this morning is that the usability of the data set is for waterboards itself not relevant for those organizations. They need more and they have more data. So why should they look at more general data sets they produce themselves? And now the solution that works, that's what we found out, and now I'll call it the mirror approach. How to improve data quality? Well, that's very simple. You have to look in the mirror, and a mirror can be also a data portal where you can show what's wrong. And I showed this picture to management of some waterboards in Holland. And guess what? The people who are responsible for the white spot in Holland had some questions. How is it possible that my data isn't on the screen? Well, because you're ugly. No, not that person, but the data. And that's because it didn't fit all the standards we agreed on, and on a basic level. So we really use this method to let people work. This is the biggest motivation to be just as good as your neighbor. And guess what? Well, I didn't change the map, but people have worked so hard that they look completely different. Another way of looking in the mirror is looking at dashboards. Here are some Inspire data sets and statuses. This is what works. Why are we gray? We are responsible and gray. If these kind of dashboards are only for the data, people responsible for data, who cares? You have to involve management in this situation. They react. Management reacts on these dashboards, not the data responsible types. I'll call them, because from grey to green is quite a lot of work. I think this will be the development for the coming period, and what we need to do is to find solutions for the technical ways of distributing data, of showing data, and like I said, that's a challenge, especially on technical issues. That's what I would like to share with you, and I hope you have questions for me.
Hi, Roland.
Hi.
I'm Italian, but I live in the Netherlands, and I've been living there only something like a couple of months, and I'm fascinated by how different the culture is in terms of governance, and how, in the end, hierarchy is not strong also in organizing organizations like yours, perhaps. I'm wondering how you bring together those many companies, organizations running the management of the water flows, and if you need to have a strong structure, a strong governance from above, or you actually manage to get them to work together effectively.
Yeah, that's right. The waterschapshuis, I keep calling it, is owned by the water boards. So management, the directors of the 21 water boards are the board of the water boards. So if they agree on this is the way we are going to do it, that's a thing in the organizational line of business. And well, that's not very complex, but that 21 is a lot of organizations. So what you see is that we have meetings several times a year where we conclude on clear projects, goals, and then those goals, which are for the general sector, are also an organization line type of commitment. That's what works.
Just very, very quickly.
what is not clear to me, you said that, of course, each organization has its own standards and follows so different standards from the others. And on the other side of the slide, you said there is no usability of Inspire data. We're not thinking about somehow reuse Inspire models to have them harmonized, different standards, different procedures harmonized. I mean, at least gathering, having them providing all data needed for Inspire. Maybe not in the right format, maybe you could, as a platform, provide, I don't know, a web processing services to provide Inspire data, but at least having the Inspire be the standards.
Yeah, of course,
Common standards.
it is. We have some standards, national and international, which we say we apply to. And well, and that's the explanation that the data quality is not perfect. There is a difference between the operational data quality and structure and approved standards where we apply to. And that's what we are doing. So the structure should be perfect and the result isn't. And that's the last bit we are working on.
Okay, I have one because, well, speaking about, of course, interoperability using standards, it's probably a similar question than Stefania. Well, I would say if you have to struggle with some things and to improve data content harmonization or focusing on interoperability and standards, what would be your priority so that it fit for user purpose?
I think really data quality, because other ways to other techniques to collect data or to share data with link data options, etc. That's something we'll continue working on, but the missing link of the most important thing in terms of usability is quality. That's what I'm very convinced of. Yep.
Okay, thank you so much for this very interesting presentation. So this is ending our session, and I hope you enjoy the very interesting and varied presentation speaking of beautiful platform, very ambitious strategies, and also this technical stuff about e-reporting quality. So I would like to thank our presenters, and we can, of course,